The spiral city exhaled. Stone softened. Iron walls became wild gardens. Clock towers unraveled into flowering spirals of sound and shadow. Children woke from long mechanical sleeps and danced among gears now turned to vines. Elders looked to the sky and saw, not a schedule, but a sky that changed. The dreaming had returned, not to erase the past, but to reweave it with feeling, wonder, breath. And so, the spiral stirred, not as a city of control, but as a living myth, deep beneath the loom core. In the last chamber untouched by the dream, the prime clockmaker stood alone. The machine code of her mind flickered. Precision gave way to questions. This is not according to the design. She reached for the central gear. It had melted into a mirror, and in its surface, she saw her child self, wide-eyed and hopeful. The moment she silenced her first dream to serve the system, and a lion's gaze, unflinching, eternal. She tried to speak a command, but the loom no longer obeyed. The dream had outgrown her. Then let me begin again. For the first time in centuries, the prime clockmaker wept, and her tears became seeds. Eris opened their eyes beneath the spiral sky. The lion sat beside her, fur golden eyes soft. Celis stirred nearby, a smile half formed. It's real, Eris whispered. We chose, and it lived. Velian arrived last, carrying a single fragment of the old loom. It glowed faintly, not as control, but as memory. They stood in the heart of the reformed city, where vines met gears and dreams met dawn. They were no longer who they were. Eris was now a dream bearer. Celis, a guardian of paradox and play. Velian, a remaker of lore. The lion, ever silent, ever watching, became the sacred bridge between instinct and story. Slowly, the city's people began to remember what it was to dream, what it was to feel, and what it was to belong. They painted songs on buildings. They sang gardens into being. They wrote poems on the wind. And in every corner of the spiral, there echoed a new phrase. We are the dreaming ones. Not because they sleep, but because they wake every day, choosing again. To imagine, remember, forgive, create. The wind moved gently through the spiral. Not the cold, measured wind of regulation, but the warm hush of stories being born. Iris sat on the edge of the city, feet dangling above a newly grown river. The lion rested beside her, tail flicking slowly, eyes watching the horizon where time folded into possibility. Behind them, the city pulsed like a living heart, with music woven into its breath and memory, inked into every wall. They did not speak for a long time. Then Eris turned to the lion. Was this always what we were meant to become? The lion blinked, slow, ancient, not meant, chosen. Eris nodded, as if remembering something she had never learned, and watched the water below trace spirals in the current. Celis approached, barefoot, carrying 3 stones. One from the old spiral, cracked and black. One from the loom core, etched with gear. One from the new gardens, green-veined and soft. She placed them together at the water's edge, not as monument, but as invitation. Velian arrived last, holding a ribbon of light. It had once been part of the prime loom. A strand of control now remade as song. Eris wove it into the stones. It sang. The lion rose. Its gaze moved across them, not as ruler, but as witness. Then it turned, and began to walk. Into the city, through the gate, into the world. Not vanishing, only continuing. The others followed, in silence. Each step a story. Each breath a beginning. They passed children building clocks that bloomed. They passed dancers painting spirals in the sky. They passed elders whispering dreams to seeds. And somewhere in the center of it all, beneath the bones of the old spiral, the dream pulsed, not as fantasy, but as truth. Not something escaped to, but something made again and again. With every choice, with every breath, they did not need to say goodbye to the old world. They had already begun the new one, and still, the dream remained. The end, or perhaps only the beginning.